Guys, it's Jeff here, back again with another video. So the thing is that I actually received a lot of questions on my Instagram over and over again with hypothetical investment strategies. So today I'll actually break down my own personal investment strategy at various net worth. So for easier and more relatable net worth, I will actually be doing negative $20,000, $5,000, $30,000, $100,000 and $250,000. This might be the possible net worth that you guys might be at, be it in debt of $20,000 if you just finished your college or your university and you're in student loan. This might be your net worth. $5,000, you might have just repaid your entire loan or you did not even go to college like I did. And $30,000 if you actually bothered to do somewhat of a saving when you were younger and you might have $30,000 now. $100,000 and $250,000 for obvious reasons. Okay, so for the first one, $20,000 in student debt or in debt in general. So if your student loan is more than 5%, I'll recommend you pay off the debt as soon as you can before you actually continue on with this whole investment journey. Because the thing is that if your loan is anything lesser than 5%, and you can see yourself earning more than 5% with this slightly smaller amount of money to invest with, then feel free to make that decision yourself. But personally, I'm a big fan of being out of debt because it makes me freer to do things that is risky, and I know that there will be nothing holding me back. I can go all out, and even if I lose it all, I will still go back to zero instead of going back to a debt to actually look after as well. Okay, so for the $5,000, I think that this is possibly for people like myself when we first started out working for the first year and we did not save any sort of income when we were younger. And when we do not put in any sort of effort when we were younger into saving our money, I understand that there are also people with different circumstances, which means that they might be in a family where they have to pay the utility bills, the phone bills, and all these expenses for the entire family since young and couldn't really afford to save any money. So you might actually be in this range as well. So I will take this $5,000 to invest in myself. Okay, so this might be a little bit ambiguous. So the things that I actually separate them out a little bit for you guys to really understand where I'm really coming from. So if you just graduated from college and paid off your student loans, and you started to have a net worth of $5,000 and you want to invest, I strongly recommend you actually take up courses around your skill sets. So use that money to invest into your own business. And of course, in terms of investing into your own business, it will be quite tough, as there's this whole very toxic entrepreneurial mindset where 9 to 6 is being frowned upon and you have to hustle hard and just work on yourself, that kind of mindset. So instead, I think investing in your business can be in different form where you can apply it to yourself, where let's just say if, like for myself, I'm in the sales line, I can actually invest into my business by actually doing something for my clients in order to improve more network, know more people, things of that nature. Or if you're direct to consumer line, you might be able to remember some occasions, their birthday, some occasions that you want to just give them a surprise. So something that I actually learned in the past year of working is that it's really hard for you to work without forming your own network and relying on the company's network itself, and also cold calling at times, of course. It might really tire you out completely, and it really make more sense for you to actually form your own network. And of course, this might really come from either just asking them out for meals, keeping up with the connections, even forms of gift during important occasion like what I said before, be it the birthdays, the Christmas, things of those nature, those kind of occasion. I think that whatever you do in those kind of decision and those occasion, those are all a form of investment for future network and connection. If I am the person with the $5,000 net worth, then yes, and because I do work in the sales line as well, which means that was actually how I spent my $5,000. I actually invested back into my business to form my own network in hopes that I can actually improve myself in terms of speaking to more people and also broadening my entire network. And for people who do not work in the sales line, or they are actually just working in a, facing the computer 9 to 6, and you guys do want to improve yourself and actually invest in this $5,000, you have multiple ways to do it. So one of it, you can either invest into the stocks market, which is something that I personally believe very, very strongly in, which is why I actually talk about investment in general. I talk about it every single day if I can, and I try my best to advocate for early investment in order for us to actually reach financial freedom at a younger age. Investing $5,000 into the stocks market might be also quite tough for you guys, because if we are actually using 10% ROI per annum, it might also be difficult for you guys because you will just be earning $500 a year with this $5,000 initial investment. And instead of actually earning this $500 a year with your investment, what I feel that would be a better use for this $5,000 would be learn something that you can expand your knowledge in. So for example, you can learn a new language, you can learn a new programming language, you can learn any sort of skill set that your company might need in the future, and that way you can increase your earning potential rather than your investing potential. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about the $30,000 net worth range. And I think that for this range, probably will fall under the people who actually managed to do a little bit of saving on their own when they were younger, and also managed to get a little bit of the net worth moving at a younger age. And this might also be applicable to people around the age of 25 to 30 who have been working for a good 2 to 3 years. And of course, if you are someone who is, say, 35 years old to 40 years old, and you're watching this video and your net worth is about $30,000, that's completely fine, because everybody has their own pace, and it is alright to be slightly slower. Because to me, it is better for you to start than to find the perfect opportunity to start. Speed over perfection is something that I really, really believe in. Alright, so for this, I would like to actually make this a lot broader, because with this amount of money, I think that it would actually come with priority for this money as well. So if your main priority at 23 years old is to actually keep up with the passion in your own job, then I feel that you should have this money-making skills to actually match your investing skills as well. I'll much rather value someone's money-making skill than someone's investing skill, simply because money-making skill is a lot more scalable at a lower range. So the thing is that what I actually did when I was 23 years old was I actually invested the entire $30,000 that I had into blue chip stocks in Singapore, and also in dividend stocks, which I was kind of heavily influenced by my father, who had different priorities back then. So the thing is that I actually changed my entire investment strategy when I was 25. Because the thing is that when I was 23 and my father actually taught me a little bit about the stocks market, he actually introduced me the ropes to the stocks market, the good, the bad, and things to actually stay away from, things of that nature. And I really learned a lot from him. And his way of investing was to invest into multiple dividend companies, which would actually give us about a 5 to 6% dividend year over year. However, I did realize that because of his age and my age, he had a lot of money in the stocks market, and his 5 to 6% a year would actually amount to something. And my $30,000 with a 5% dividend, it wouldn't really amount to much. And because of that, I actually changed my entire investment strategy. And before I continue to talk about my way of investing at 25, I would also like to say that there are also multiple other priorities to actually look into, such as people who are prioritizing to have a family. So if you and your significant other are actually prepared to get a house, and okay, this is for Singaporeans context, because the thing is that, you should definitely start to be looking into getting a house if you're stable enough to pay off your down payment, your mortgage in the following 20, 30 years. Instead of looking at, all the various other investment, you might actually want to get into a house to settle down first. I think in Singapore's context, it is a lot more usual, because it makes more sense for us to stay with our parents until an older age. And also because real estate in Singapore is ridiculously expensive. And also for people who are prioritizing into working on their businesses, I would definitely say this would make up a good percentage, because I feel that, you should really take this $30,000 and reinvest into your business only if you are passionate about it, and, okay, not all, and the business must have a hopeful trend towards profitability. So what I mean by having profitability is that you might not be profitable at the start, which is fine, and I really respect the hustle. But you must also be true to yourself and ask yourself, when will this business start to become profitable? I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but businesses are not driven by passion alone, and also a huge load of realism. So if you have a business that is doing well and you might be profitable in, let's say, 2 years, I would strongly recommend that you reinvest back into the business, because that is essentially one of the best investment strategy that I can think of. So finally, if I'm actually able to go back to when I was 23, with the knowledge that I actually have now, what would I have done differently back then? So I would have actually diversified $30,000 a lot better. I would have invested into tech companies and growth companies with more than half of my money, which I would say about $15,000 to $20,000 into tech companies. And then I'll put a small amount into cryptocurrency for speculation purposes. So maybe about $2,000 to $3,000. And for the rest of the money, I would then tuck them all into an S&P ETF or a Dow ETF instead of buying into blue chips company. So the reason behind me actually putting so much money into the tech stocks and growth stocks is because back then I would have been only 23 years old and I do not really need as much liquid cash as I thought. And I should be heavily invested into the stocks market and also into my future. And with this thought, I feel that I should only have an expectation of a return when I'm at least 30 years old, instead of having a quick gratification and wanting my ROI as soon as I can. And if that is my strategy, I feel that, looking into companies that are only relevant after 2025 or even 2030, only then will I be able to be so-called forward-looking and actually make my money go further and make this into an actual investment. Alright, and now for the $100,000 mark. Honestly, I think that it kind of get boring from here on out, because you would imagine having more money would actually means more interesting ways of investment. And as true as it might be, there are only a certain amount of asset class. And even though you have more capital, you tend to go towards the least risk to most reward asset class that you can find in order to grow your wealth. However, for the sake of relevance, I would still account for people with different priorities, similar to the $30,000 mark, because I feel $100,000 is a huge milestone, and for us to actually hit this milestone, you definitely will be in a different headspace as when you first started this entire journey. So for the people who actually probably, bought a house, this might also be a good time for you to actually think about a new possible onboarding member of the family. Even though I feel that, $100,000 is way too little for me to have a little me. But, there are people whose goal in life is not to amount to a lot of money, but is to just to have a kid and live in the moment, have a happy family and things of that nature. But, that's not really what I'm looking for. However, of course, I do want to be able to find a girlfriend, a wife, eventually a kid, have my own family, but, not my life as of now. As why I mentioned, for the sake of relevance, I feel that, especially in Singapore, this percentage should be painfully small to have a $100,000 net worth and to be having a baby. However, because we were brought up to know that, unless you are able to afford to have a baby, you should, condom on at all times, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so for business owners, at this point of your net worth, I'm pretty sure it should be painfully obvious for you guys right now, because the thing is that if your business is generating enough profits for you to be in the $100,000 net worth, then I think that, this might definitely be something that you want to consider, which is really reinvest into your business and scale your business if possible. And of course, I also understand that, you might be looking into diversifying your investments instead of, being knee deep into your business alone. One fell swoop might end your entire so-called portfolio. And, like how we actually saw the pandemic did and how it affected millions of businesses worldwide. So I think that it would also be smart for you guys to actually do a little bit of a diversification instead of just going all in to your business alone. So if that is your situation, I would say I'll invest 25 to 50% of my money into index funds only. So the reason why I would actually do this instead of going into the tech and growth stocks like what I would actually do for myself is because the thing is that I feel that when you're actually running a business, you're essentially running your brain capacity at a maximum at all times. And the last thing that you really want or need is a fluctuation or a dip in the market, and tech might get a hit from various catalysts that make the stock goes down or anything of that nature. And worst case scenario, you might even affect your own business decision because of a dip in the market. And instead, I would much rather park my money into an index fund where the closest to a risk-free investment in the stocks market, and it also generated an average of a good 10 to 13% year over year in the past 40 years. And I think that if my earned money is working hard while being in the stocks market, while I can be even more riskier in my own business, doing some unorthodox business decision when I feel a change is needed in my business. And finally, if you are in the segment where you don't really have a business and you somehow got to $100,000 net worth, first off, congratulations, because if you work a 9 to 6 or you work for someone else and you manage to work hard, save money, and invest consistently throughout and got to the $100,000 mark, I feel that this is great. And you guys have hit one of the biggest milestones in your life. It's actually quite debatable, but I feel that this should be one of the hardest milestones for you to hit, in my opinion. So when you actually hit $100,000 mark, and let's say you did it before 30 years old, I would say you kind of really grasp the basic understanding of what my video is actually talking about today. So I feel that as long as you actually continue with what you actually did, and with momentum, the 500,000 and the $1 million mark will definitely be inevitable. And it's not going to be easy, definitely, but as long as you keep it up, I feel that it will definitely come eventually. And also for the people who are watching this video, if you hit your $100,000 mark after 30 years old or even 40 years old, don't be disheartened either, because hitting this milestone is not really an easy task per se. And I can name you at least 10 people around me who are over the age of 50 without even hitting this once. So yeah, it's a feat nevertheless. So if you actually hit this milestone, just be happy for yourself. So finally, for my own personal investment strategy with $100,000 net worth, hopefully by 30 years old, my investment strategy would be $40,000 to $50,000 into index funds. Okay? $25,000 to $30,000 into tech and growth stocks, $10,000 to $15,000 into my CPF, which is also Singapore's equivalent to the Roth IRA and also the 401k, and also $5,000 to $10,000 into cryptocurrencies. So if you actually realize, nothing really changed, because the thing is that maybe the percentage changed, the weightage of a few asset class actually changed a little bit. Maybe with the new introduction of CPF into my investment strategy, because ultimately I will definitely be getting a house, and CPF actually allows me to use it and whatever I invested in it to pay off mortgages, like what I'm actually doing right now. And the average ROI for CPF, if I'm not mistaken, it should be about 4 to 6%, and it's definitely going to be risk-free. And this means that I'm able to ensure at least 10% of my net worth in a safe haven. However, there is a very, very big but. Because the money that I actually put into this account will only be accessible to withdraw when I'm either 55 or 60 years old, or I can actually use it as a sort of monthly installment payment to my mortgages that I actually buy for properties that's actually in Singapore. So if you're someone who actually worships liquidity and cash flow, this might not be the best strategy, but I like it enough for a 10% because it is inevitable for me to need to use my CPF when I get older, and especially getting a house, and essentially it just makes sense to me. Okay, finally, $250,000 net worth. Okay, I'm not kidding when I say that it's boring, because at this point, if you're watching at this point and still do not know what I will do with my money, just click off this video. I'm kidding. Please press the like, thanks. But yes, the game of capital acquisition and capital appreciation is quite boring when you actually get the handbook for it, because simply Simply said, it is just the same moves over and over again, just with bigger numbers over time. So yeah, honestly speaking, I don't think I really have much difference in terms of how I will be investing at my $250,000 mark. Maybe even in the $1 million mark, but I think that I might be able to change my investment plans a little bit by maybe getting another house. And other than that, I don't think there's gonna be much change. And stocks market generally is still one of the best asset class for me to park my capital as of now, until I actually think of otherwise. But yeah, if you managed to watch till the end of this video, I really appreciate it a lot if you can give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for future content. And please follow me on Instagram because I post there pretty much daily. And with that said, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys invest safe. Bye.